Hello folks, Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees, your Central Ohio beekeeper. A couple weeks ago I had a question asked to me about the goldenrod and when to start feeding. And the question went something like this: when should I remove my honey supers and give up on the goldenrod flow and begin feeding my bees for winter? The answer for that question is kind of tricky. It took me about 3 or 4 years to actually realize my goldenrod flow wasn't worth waiting on. Now, when I say it wasn't worth waiting on, what I mean is my goldenrod flow isn't tremendous. I have several different varieties of goldenrod in my area, and they don't all bloom at once. I might have a patch over here, a patch over here, and a patch over there. This patch will bloom this week, that patch will bloom in 2 weeks, and that patch will bloom in a month. So they don't all bloom at once. So therefore, getting a good nectar flow in the fall is kind of hard for me. And I'll tell you the truth, I actually believe I got a better aster flow than I do goldenrod flow. For my first few years, I would try and harvest the goldenrod flow in hopes that that would give me enough food that I wouldn't have to feed. That never really worked out for me, to be honest with you, and here's why. You see, once the goldenrod flow is over for me here in Central Ohio, I've got a very small window to get the hives up to weight as far as food before winter. You see, at that point, the temperatures are starting to get chilly at night, and we've even got some chilly days. And when it's cold or chilly out, the bees don't really like to leave the brood box and go up into a feeder to get a little food to bring down and stick in some cells or honeycomb. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't matter how long you leave it in there, it'll stay in the feeder, my experience anyway. The bees just ignore it. So I've learned it's more beneficial for me to not wait on the goldenrod flow. Go ahead and get my supers off and start feeding now. You know, the cold weather's really unpredictable as far as when it's going to move into your area and stay there. We might get a little cool spell, and then it'll move out, and some warm weather will move back in. And you know, and at that point you're thinking, wow, I should have waited on the goldenrod flow. Well, the goldenrod flow isn't a guarantee for your bees. Feeding them can be a guarantee that they're going to have enough food to make it through winter. So keep that in mind, folks. If you're one of these people that's thinking you're going to get a great goldenrod flow, don't bank on it. If you do, I will tell you that is one of my very, very favorite honeys, the goldenrod. It's a nice dark honey and it has a wonderful flavor. Now, if you're new to beekeeping, you might wonder, how do I know if my bees are working the goldenrod? Well, they're going to be bringing in a bright orange to a yellow pollen, and your hive or your bee yard is going to start to smell like stinky feet. Something about the goldenrod creates a foul odor. Actually, you know, I used to think it was a foul odor. Something about being a beekeeper and several years of smelling the goldenrod flow, and now I'm kind of attracted to the smell. I don't know what that's all about, because it's really not a pleasant smell when you're first introduced to it. But anyway, that's the goldenrod. So here's a picture of some goldenrod in bloom for you that do not know what goldenrod looks like. And here's a little fact for you. Goldenrod commonly gets blamed for people's ragweed allergies. You'll see people out there mowing huge fields of goldenrod thinking it's going to help their allergies, when really it's the ragweed, not goldenrod. The other plant that comes in bloom with the goldenrod is aster, and I'm starting to see it open up around here. Here's a picture of what the asters look like. Now the asters, there's several different varieties and colors of them. I'm going to link a video up here in the corner for you that would like to learn more about the different asters that could be growing in your area. And to close this video off, one more thing I'd like to discuss is robbing screens. This is a good time of year to be considering a robbing screen for your colony. And there's several of them on the market today. But the science behind how a robbing screen works is pretty simple. You may have the stuff around your house that you can make a robbing screen for yourself. I'm going to link another video up here in the corner that's going to show you how robbing screens work and the science behind them. And then you can probably take some regular window screen and make something yourself, to be honest with you. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the robbing screen video, and you ought to just go ahead and educate yourself on the different asters while you're at it too. So I hope this video has been helpful, folks. you know, if I would have seen this video years ago, it would have helped me through 3 or 4 years of colonies dying out because they didn't have enough food. Big lesson learned there for me. So keep the suggestions in this video in your back pocket and maybe put them to use, because not everybody has a great goldenrod flow, or a fall flow for that matter. So in next week's video, folks, we're going to jump back in here on the Apiary colonies and see how they're doing. So what we're going to do is I'd like to take the Ergo kit and play around with the pollen trap a little bit. I haven't got to do that this year, and it was one of my goals to try this year. So with the goldenrod and the asters about to be taking off, there should be some decent pollens coming in, and I don't want to harvest every day, but if I do a day here and skip a few days and then do it again, that'll give the bees to harvest some of the pollen themselves, because they do need that this time of year. That pollen that they're bringing in is used to raise brood, and that brood is what will overwinter our colonies. So very important that I don't take too much, but I would like to play with a little bit and see how it works. I would also like to show you how I am treating with OA on the Ergo kit right here. I have a Larabi's vaporizer, and I would also like to show you how I'm treating oxalic acid vaporizer. I would also like to show you how I'm using my Larabi's oxalic acid vaporizer. I would also like to show you how I'm using my Larabi's oxalic acid vaporizer and treating the Ergo kit, this plastic colony here. They do make a tray that you can slide underneath, but I've got another little tip that was shared with me from one of my followers, and I'll be sharing that next week too. So if you're interested in these Apiary colonies, make sure you tune in. I'm actually wanting to check the super on this one. Remember, I stuck them round combs in there. I want to see if they've done anything with that, and then I need to get that box pulled so I can start building them up for winter. So anyway, ought to be a pretty interesting video next week, so make sure you tune in for that. I hope the tips and advice shared in this video are helpful for a lot of you. Just don't bank on that goldenrod, folks. It's nice to see it and think that you're going to have a flow, but don't bank on it. Yeah. Anyway, folks, have a great week, and we'll see you back here next Sunday. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and maybe even subscribe so you can see more of my content. Thanks again, folks, and like I said, have a great week.